I'm sorry if the video is shaking. We are going through a bit of turbulence. I think it's the time for the final reveal of this mystery journey. Hello, good morning. Today we're having a bit of a different video. It's a reading log, but at the same time it's a mystery travel vlog. We're going for a Christmas holiday and we have 2 legs on our journey. So you will see in the end that we'll end up. But at the moment we're actually in Heathrow Airport. I didn't manage to film much on the way here just because it was absolutely hectic, and plus it was very dark, so video wouldn't be great anyway. So we just arrived, we're in a lounge, and we're planning to have breakfast, and I will start my reading. For my first book of the vlog, I selected the Kim Jiyoung, born 1982. It's a very famous book and it was actually part of my Christmas book shopping. So I'm really excited to start with this one. It's relatively short, so I don't think it will take me that long to actually finish it. And I'll be able to update you as soon as possible. I see you soon. Enjoy the video. Hello y'all. So we finally managed to complete first leg of our journey. At the moment we are in Madrid. I can't really show you at the moment just because we just arrived to the hotel, but I really hope we will figure out the transportation system around here and we'll manage to actually go to the city center. Fingers crossed. Because to be honest, the Madrid airport was an absolutely hellish experience. It was so confusing. We probably spent about an hour trying to find ways to actually escape that place. It is so confusing. I tried to check with the members of staff a few times, but even people that work there weren't really helpful in terms of it just indicating where bus stops are, where the places are. So yes, it was quite a challenge, to be honest, to try to find our way around there. But we managed to, even though we actually ended up taking a taxi. Just at some point we just gave up and decided yes, it's not worth it, and let's take a taxi. But anyway, we are free now, and we're trying to figure out how we actually go to the city center from this place. About my reading update. So I'm about halfway through Kim Ji-yoon, born 1982, and really need to talk about this book. I think it just will be such a relatable read to many of women. At least in my experience, I read so many things that I personally have heard or experienced in the past. It's just amazing. As already mentioned, it's about a woman in South Korea. She's in her early 30s. She's married with a child, and she started experiencing this peculiar psychological issues, mental issues, and her husband doesn't really understand what's happening with her. Her family is perplexed, and she's being sent to a male therapist to actually try to figure out what's happening with her. We're starting getting to know Kim Ji-yoon in the beginning of the book. So, as I mentioned already, the book is split into different sections from her childhood to adolescence and adulthood. So we slowly getting to know her since she's a child, but even before she was born, we get some background on her family, on her mother, and how her mother's experience and upbringing shaped her life and partially shaped life of Kim Ji-yoon as well. Kim Ji-yoon, her mother, and women around them are victims of this institutionalized misogyny. Their whole lives are shaped by these experiences, by this attitude in the society towards women. It starts with the childbearing and childbirth, when many women are electing to proceed with selective abortions when they learn that the fetus is female. And there are so many these heartbreaking accounts through Kim Jiyoung life and experience. We follow her from her childhood to her adult life till the moment when she started experiencing these mental issues. And we slowly learn what could be the cause of the problem and why she is not completely understood by her husband and by her family. At the moment, I reached the point when Kim Ji-yoon is applying for various jobs after finishing the university, and hopefully I'll be able to complete the book today. It's not really a long book, but to be honest, we were pretty distracted with our struggles getting around in London and Madrid, and hopefully we'll be able to go for dinner today as well. But I really hope I'll manage to finish the book today, and I'll let you know my thoughts on this one. Hello, good morning. We're back in the Madrid airport. To be honest, I didn't really sleep much because yesterday evening we were trying to go for dinner and we came back to the hotel quite late. So I'm very tired. I'm actually exhausted. So hopefully the flight will be smooth and I'll manage to sleep a little bit. I finished the book yesterday, and it gave me a very interesting feeling because I had a similar sort of feeling after reading another book. It's, if I remember correctly, it's called The Power by Naomi Alderman. It has some similar sort of techniques when certain phrases that people tell or certain actions that people perform are twisted and it's brought from the perspective of a man. What happened if the same phrase was said by a man or the same action was performed by a man? How would it look like? And it sort of twists the situation and shows the absurdity of it. I had a very similar feeling. I'll put that book on the screen, so if you're interested, maybe have a look as well. But as I said already, in this book we follow Kim Ji-yoon. She is a Korean woman. She lives in South Korea. She's in her early 30s and she's married and she has a child. And at some point she started having these mental issues when it looked like she started having a split personality disorder when she started talking from other people's perspective, from people that she knows, she personally knows, maybe people from the past or from the present, some dead people, but from perspective of different women she knows. And it was very interesting because I was thinking the purpose of this sort of split personality. It's not really being covered, let's say, extensively in the book. The reason, let's say, we don't really discover the reason why it's happening. But yesterday evening I was really thinking about it. And I have two ideas. Please let me know if you agree, if you read this book and you agree, or if you have different ideas. But one of them was that she was doing it. Obviously, it's not she's doing it on purpose. She literally flips between different personalities. But the purpose of it, in my view, my first idea that it's a way for her of dissociating herself from the situation. So she's sort of removing herself from the situation because it's so traumatic. And my second idea, which I think is more plausible, that's my favorite, let's say, theory, is that when she speaks, if you notice, when she speaks from a perspective of this women, she always sort of defends herself and tries to explain herself from their point of view. So for her, as I can see, it is a way of reaching out to other people because she is not fully able to do it herself, to try to explain what's happening inside her. Maybe because she was brought up in a way that, let's say, trying to be nice and not to be taxing on people, and she didn't develop this skill of actually, I would say, complaining or trying to express herself fully. Whatever the reason is, but I felt that this woman, from the perspective which she's actually talking in this situation, are trying to reach out to other people and try to explain to them what's actually happening. Another thing that I already mentioned that will happen in this book, we're following Kim Jiyoung from starting from her birth through her formative years and till she started having these mental issues. And we see what led to the situation, what she had to go through all her life. The book is pretty dry account of her life and all the situation, all the circumstances. You will see why in the end of the book, why it is structured in this way. But it feels sometimes a sort of snapshots of her life with traumatic experiences. But these experiences were so relatable. I still feel like I need to think more about it because I made so many notes during reading this book, and it's literally a short book. I think it's about 160 pages, but I found so many relatable moments when I literally see myself in this sort of situations, and I think it's a very relatable book for many women, and I would highly recommend reading it. I feel I still need to sit on it, and I'll probably just publish a more detailed review on it. But for the moment, I absolutely enjoy reading it, even though sometimes it was a very upsetting experience. But I would highly, highly recommend this book. So, yes, that was my update on my reading. Now I'm planning to actually Now I'm actually planning to start a second book of this reading book. This is a Man Called Ove. So I think this one will be a slightly easier read in terms of mental impact. And I hope I will have an easier time and have some fun. So we're planning to have some breakfast, and we'll have another flight today, and I'll let you know my thoughts on the book that I'm planning to read now, and in the end of the video you will see where I'm actually heading. See you soon. Hi again. I think it's a time for my reading update. I reached about 70% mark in the book and just wanted to share my first thoughts on that. So in the beginning of the book we encounter our main character, Ove, and he's not very pleasant person. He's very grumpy. He's quite contrarian. If you meet people like that, you probably don't really like them. He's getting into arguments, but another thing I found a little bit weird, maybe just me, but I personally found it a little bit weird because according to the book, he is only 59. But based on his behavior and the things he said, he appears somehow older to me. I would say, according to the book, he feels like probably approaching 80s. I don't know, maybe just my distorted perception, but I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, we meet Ove, and he's quite a grumpy and pleasant character. But at the same time, quite early in the book, we learn to do things about him that slowly start changing our opinion about him. We quickly learn that he just lost his wife and he's not dealing with the grief well. His house is still full of her clothing, full of her things, and he's constantly talking to her. With the software with Frederick Bachman, he always comes up with these emotionally punching stories. I didn't read many of them. I'm sorry if the video is shaking. We are going through a bit of turbulence. I'm actually trying not to talk too loudly because people are sleeping around me. But yes, going back to Frederick Bachman, I read only 2 books by him so far. One is Anxious People. It's a very famous book, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it's the most famous of his books. I know some people don't really get his sense of humor, they don't really appreciate that book. I did enjoy it. I wouldn't say that it really left an emotional impact on me, but I think it was a very nice book. I really enjoyed it. But another book I read by him, it was actually a novella, and every day the walk home is getting longer and longer. It's a very wordy title. I think it has less than 100 pages in it, but honestly, I was crying all the way through that novella. It absolutely destroyed me. It was dealing with topic of dementia, and the way he put it there, it was so emotional, at the same time so kind. I just couldn't take it. I was crying all the time. So if you're looking for something that covers this topic, I would really highly recommend that book. It's so kind, it's so beautiful, but at the same time, it is so profoundly sad. I don't know, be mindful about a topic if you give it a go and you're not aware of it. It is a very, very sad story. At the same time, extremely beautiful. So this is the 3rd book I'm reading by him, The Man Called Ove, and I feel like at this moment I am on the sad part of it, and I hope it will slowly move into a more heartwarming area, because we see that he puts the seeds of recovery for our character. I see that there is a possibility of growth and emotional recovery for him. I'm really looking forward to it. So I will continue reading it. I have a lot of flying hours still ahead of me, and I'll give you an update later. See you. Hi, I think it's a time for the final reveal of this mystery journey. You probably already figured it out, but we are in Cuba, in Havana. I'm planning to make another reading vlog in Havana, and stay tuned. You will see later. I will try to post some interesting videos. There are some interesting footages. So if you are curious about Cuba and Havana in particular, check it later. But yes, at the same time, it's a time for our final update on this reading vlog. So I finished A Man Called Ove during our flight, and I am ready to tell you that I absolutely loved it. It was absolute joy to read. It's a very heartwarming book. I would say it starts more on a sad note, but at some point it just progresses into more found family dynamic, and it becomes more and more heartwarming. So as I already mentioned, this book is about our main protagonist, Man Called Ove. He's 59 years old. He recently lost his wife. She passed away, and he's not dealing with the grief well. Ova is a very interesting, complicated character. Probably in the beginning, you'll find him irritating and annoying because he's a man of straight angles. He likes math because it provides straight answers, easy answers for him. He likes right angles because they're easy to understand. He's full of very strong principles and ideas. He's not very flexible. He really stands for his opinions. And he's at times very difficult to deal with. But at the same time, the book is structured in a very interesting way because we have constant, continuous throwbacks in time where we can learn more about Ove, about his wife, about his relationship with his wife, his that father with his friends as well, and we can learn about him, about his personality, why he's the way he is. So we can find more empathy towards this character. We can understand him better and start liking him for his other very endearing character traits. But at some point, our grumpy gentleman gets new neighbors, and it's literally like a story of a found family that was literally forced on him. He wasn't seeking it out, he was actively avoiding it, but these people literally forced themselves on him. And during this book, we read about his history, about his past, and the progression of this new developing relationship with his new found family and his neighbors, and how he opens up to new people, to new opportunities in life, and to new feelings. It's a very, very endearing book. I think after reading this book, you probably will find much more empathy towards your grumpy neighbors and people you may not like in the beginning. I think you will be more thoughtful about why people the way they are. And I think it's a very important book in this sense. As already mentioned in my previous video, I gifted this book about a year ago to one of my male friends, and he absolutely loved it. He said he actually sees himself in this man. And I think it is important to find something that you can relate to in our books. And yes, I would really highly recommend it. Both of these books, both of the books that I read during this reading logs are absolutely amazing. I think I slightly more prefer Kim Ji-yoon book, but this one is it's almost 5 stars for me. I think the only two concerns about these books, but they are so unsubstantial, to be honest. I don't really think that they should influence your opinion about reading this book. But first is Ove's age. I think I already mentioned in the previous update that in the book I found him feeling much older than he is in the book, because according to the book he's 59 years old, but he's so much at odds with the modern world. He feels, I don't know, at least for me, being much older person. I'm not sure if you have the same feeling if you read this book, or if you agree or disagree with me. Please let me know. But I found it a little bit odd that a man of 59 years old literally doesn't know what an iPad is. He doesn't have a mobile phone. He doesn't know how to use a mobile phone. And there are lots of these sort of small things that he's very at odds with. I found it peculiar, but anyway, it shouldn't deter you from reading this book. It's not important. And another thing that maybe slightly at some point during my read disturbed me, because by the end of the book, at some point I felt that it was getting a little bit too sweet, maybe. but I think it corrected itself at some point, and I didn't have this reading by the time I finished the book. So I don't know. I don't think that this book is overly sweet. It has its sweet moments, obviously, because it's a very heartwarming book. It's about a found family, but it's not overly sugary, so you feel like your teeth are clenching. So yes, highly recommended. Very nice. I would say relaxing, uh, lighthearted, but at the same time very very thoughtful read. Recommended. And see you soon in new videos in Havana.